So we're actually quite big fans, and it's great having you here.
Thank you.
So I just want to start by making a quick recap of the year as we're closing the year. 2025 was a huge year for you. You released your first album, you released many singles, you toured a lot. I just
hmm
want to ask which one of the cycle was your favorite? Like, was it the touring? Was it the recording?
I think probably the touring was my favorite. My favorite
Hmm.
part of being a musician is playing shows, so I think this year we did a lot of that, which is great.
Yes, I think you were in Europe this autumn, right?
Yes, yeah, in September.
And you have upcoming dates in January in Japan and New York.
Yes, yeah, and a few other places in Asia in
Hmm.
January and February, and then the US in March and April.
Yeah, like I just want to ask, like from your side of the stage, do you ever feel a difference between the audiences? Especially, I'm curious about Japan since you have some sort of an emotional connection there.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty different depending on where you are, even like city by city. It can change a lot, I feel like. Um, Yeah, I've noticed in Asia in general, a lot of the places we've played, like Japan and Korea and um, Taiwan also, generally the crowds are like a little more quiet, but not in a bad way. I feel like they're just like really attentive and listening
Maybe
very
respectful, maybe.
deeply. Yeah, like it's like more of a, it's like just being quiet out of, yeah, just trying to be respectful and stuff. Whereas in the US and some places in Europe, people are a little more like they'll like shout and cheer and stuff, and that's good too. I like both types of audiences. I think I don't really have a preference between the two,
Yeah, I think like there was a discourse about like the concert etiquette after the pandemic, especially. Did you ever feel like there was something there, like the newer audiences didn't
but
like really care to listen or didn't know how to listen, the artist?
oh, I guess I didn't really notice that specifically, but I also didn't play that many shows. I didn't really start touring until after COVID, so I don't really have anything to compare it to before COVID. Yeah.
Do you like have a favorite show from the past year or so after the album, maybe?
Yeah, I feel like mm, that's hard. I feel like for the most part I like every show. But one that really sticks out to me is when we played in Atlanta
Hmm.
in, I think it was probably June of this year. I really like that show because we had never headlined in Atlanta before, and I didn't really know how many fans we had there or how much they cared, and I feel like I was just like very pleasantly surprised by the fans there because they were like really excited about the show and they were like singing along to every song and it just like there was like a really good energy in the room. I really like that show.
What about Europe? Do you have like a memorable moment from or memorable show from Europe?
Yeah, I feel like Europe again they were all great. I guess ones that stick out to me maybe are like London and Paris. I think
Mhm.
I really like those shows. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So I have some hopefully not so boring questions about your background. Uh, I know that you went to Berkeley and guitar plays a very significant role in your music, but you didn't really start with guitar, right? You started with piano.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you like what led you to this decision? Or do you have like, I was wondering like if you were listening to a certain song when you made that decision.
To play guitar, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think actually what originally inspired me to play guitar was a movie that I watched
Mm-hmm.
called Back to the Future.
Yeah.
And there's like a scene where the main character is playing guitar in his room. He's playing like a Chuck Berry song in his room.
Yeah.
And I saw that and I wanted to play electric guitar. Um, yeah, and that was when I was probably like 10 or 11-ish. Or like I started playing guitar when I was 11 and then really haven't touched piano since. Like obviously I have like a little bit like randomly
Mhm.
for fun, but I can't really play piano at all anymore. Um, yeah, I guess that I think it was definitely like the style of music that I was interested in, like piano. I was mostly playing like classical music and like some pop songs and stuff, but I think that after seeing that movie and in general, I was just like more drawn to rock music, which
Yeah.
is more of like a guitar based type of music. So,
Yeah, but you don't really you don't really frequently play the electric guitar, I believe, right?
I play electric guitar most of the time, I would say, like for shows and stuff. I've been recording more on acoustic and nylon string, but I still, most songs I have like electric guitar layers, and then live I mostly play electric guitar.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a lot more, I feel like it's just easier to control. Like, I feel like with my acoustic guitar and my
Mhm.
nylon string, it's a little harder with like feedback, and it's harder to get the tone right, I feel like.
Maybe also the intonation, maybe.
Yeah. Hmm.
Also, your playing is very technical, and I think it's very theoretical. I was trying to learn Itsumo based on your tutorial on Instagram. And I was very scared at first, but I also know some little bit of jazz vocabulary and guitar. And when I got into it, it was much easier to grasp from what I expected. But I was wondering, like having this kind of a proficiency both in theory and in technicality, like does it make songwriting easier for you, or do you ever like have to stop yourself from overcomplicating things?
I feel like I don't really stop myself from overcomplicating things, and that's why my music sounds the way it does, you know? Like, if I was trying to stop myself from overcomplicating things, I think my music would sound very different. Um, I don't really think about it too much, to be honest. I kind of just play whatever I like, and if I like it, then I like it, and I don't really worry about it. Yeah.
Nice. Do you have like some sort of a concern or obsession to be perfect on stage?
Not necessarily perfect, because I don't think that's possible, but I think just playing the best I can in that moment and making sure the emotions are coming through, you know?
So I have a bit of a cliche question for you. I think I hope you're not bored of this. You obviously sing both in Japanese and English. And I was wondering, like, do you ever think about the phonetics or the rhythms of the words that you choose? Or like how do you know which language does the song want? Or does it like an emotional flow?
I would say it's kind of just whatever feels right for the moment. I don't really think about it too hard in terms of the phonetics and stuff, but normally there's like a certain, something will fit better in a certain spot in a certain language. I guess like this word sounds better here in Japanese, or this word sounds better here in English. It normally is like pretty intuitive of like what it should be, at least for me. Um, yeah, I kind of just go with whatever feels right.
Yeah, and they all sound very nice. And I think Isumo is my favorite song of the year. So I think it fit perfectly whenever, like, I think emotionally as well. Even though I didn't understand what was going on in the Japanese parts. So I think this is my final question. We obviously talked about the jazz influence in your music, but people also like describe your music as sometimes J-pop, sometimes math rock, and even sometimes bossa nova. And like sometimes it's really hard to pin down to a certain genre, and we don't really have to do that, I believe. But I was wondering, how did this mix develop? Like, what were you listening to growing up, and what is always on your daily rotation? What songs or
Yeah.
what artists?
Yeah, so I guess growing up, the first bands that I got into that were like really my own taste in music, I think were Nirvana and the Smashing
Mhm.
Pumpkins. And I still listen to them a good amount now, especially Nirvana. I've been listening to a lot recently. And then I guess when I was learning guitar, I was listening to a lot of classic rock like Led Zeppelin and like Pink Floyd and some like AC/DC and Beatles and stuff like that, like stuff that everyone kind of learns when they're learning guitar, you know? And
Standard.
then, yeah, and when I got to high school, my high school had a jazz program, and I chose to join it because I could play guitar in the in class. So there I was introduced to jazz music kind of for the
Hmm.
first time. I mean, I had heard jazz before, obviously, because my dad would play it around the house and on the radio and stuff, but it was my first time like really paying attention to it. And I was learning stuff like Charlie Parker and Miles Davis and Coltrane and Bill Evans and Jim Hall and like Wes Montgomery, kind of like all the main famous
I
people you think of,
yeah.
Sonny Rollins, whatever. Yeah. And along with that, part of the repertoire was learning some bossa nova tunes like Girl from Ipanema and
Tall and thin and young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking, and when she passes, he smiles, but she doesn't.
Corcovado and Wave, like the types of tunes that people will call to play in
Hmm.
jazz too, you know? And so that's where I was introduced to that type of Brazilian music also. So yeah, I started listening to like jazz and more Brazilian music, and then went on to Berkeley to study like jazz guitar mostly, and kind of just kept learning more about that type of music, and got more into Brazilian music also. Um, so yeah, I would say that's kind of like the main influences that I would think of and where it comes from is mostly like my education, which I'm really lucky to have, and then yeah, I guess like rock music from when I was younger.
And do you have some like out of the ordinary artist that really has a big influence on your music? Like apart from all these standards and giants, like a rapper or another some alternative artist maybe.
Good question. I feel like I definitely listen to like some rap and like hyperpop sometimes, but I don't know if I could like really say that I feel like I'm influenced by it. Maybe in some ways, and like I feel like that type of music often has really catchy melodies and stuff like that, and so I think about that. But I don't know. I think the one that people are sometimes surprised by is like Nirvana. I feel like people are surprised by that,
Hmm.
but then when they listen again, I think they kind of hear it in some of the chords and stuff that I use. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can give like an unexpected influence.
You don't have to, yeah. So this was it, I think, and I think it was very nice. Thank you very much for joining us. It was great to meet you, and I'm pretty sure your next shows will be great. So to see you in Istanbul one day.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thanks so much for having me. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Have a good day.
You too. Bye
Bye.
bye.